Welcome back to Tom. Today, Hamantaschen, no surprise, it's Purim week. These are brownie stuffed Hamantaschen with a chocolate drizzle. Basically, I just made a brownie, cut up some bits of brownie and stuffed them inside the Hamantaschen. But let me tell you something about Hamantaschen. The word Haman is obviously there. Tash is the Germanic, old High German word for pocket. There used to be this Middle Ages pastry called Hamantaschen, which was a poppy seed filled pocket of pastry that was triangle shaped. It didn't take long for the Jews to associate the word mun with Haman, which is the way it sounds in a Germanic accent, and to take that pocket and add significance to it. The significance being that there was a massive amount of money being exchanged between Haman and King Ahasuerus for the genocide of the Jews. It wasn't just about killing the Jews, there was also massive financial gain involved. So we associate the word of Haman and pockets, we put them together, and the first Hamantaschen were actually poppy seed filled. With time, other fillings come in, but the Hamantaschen has been associated with Purim since the Middle Ages, and Jews have been eating them and celebrating them the way we always do, with humor. What better way to defeat our enemies than to actually eat them? Let's get on with it. Let's make this Purim amazing, and let's start by making Hamantaschen right now. The dough itself, it just wants so much from you. It wants to be tender and delicious, still hold its shape, be dairy free if possible. So what I've found is that the best way to do this is to do it ahead of time. Make your dough at least an hour, if not possibly a day before you want to use it. So what I have here is 470 grams of plain flour. To that I'm adding 2 teaspoons baking powder and half a teaspoon salt. So that's going in. I love this dough because that's all it requires. A spoon and a fork. So I'm just using my fork to whisk it all together. And then I'm gonna make a well in the center. You could do this in your mixer with the paddle attachment, no problem. But I'm being a bit lazy today. I just want to throw the dough together. I've got here 1 cup of sugar, which is 200 grams. To that I'm adding 3/4 of a cup of oil, along with 2 eggs, which I've checked, and a 1/4 cup of orange juice. I often use the rind of the orange, the zest, to flavor it, but we're going for a more chocolatey based filling this year, so no orange rind, because my kids are not fans of chocolate orange combo. My husband would love that though. All right, that is our dough. I'm gonna give it a good mix with my spoon. I should have used a larger spoon maybe. And this dough is gonna go into the fridge. It needs an hour to set up. Initially, you'll think, how the heck am I gonna roll that out? But that hour in the fridge, and preferably overnight, are gonna give you an amazing, amazing dough. So check that out. There is the dough. It's gonna go into the fridge now for an hour. If you're doing this in your mixer, it'll probably be a smoother consistency. But Hamantaschen in the old country, I'm guessing they did it by hand, right? All right, so into the fridge we go. All right, here is our dough. It's been an hour. I'm actually going to portion this into 4 and just working with 1/4 of the dough at a time. I'm going to knead it. So I'm going to really well flour my surface or baking mat. I love, love, love using a baking mat. It makes me incredibly happy, but you could do this directly on a work surface. You can also, once you've kneaded it, roll it out between 2 sheets of baking paper. When I started making pastry, I really lacked confidence, and rolling things out between baking paper was my friend. All right, so I've kneaded this a few times. It's come together beautifully. I've got my rolling pin. time to roll. So there we go. And like any cookie roll, avoid if possible the rolling back and forth. Move the dough and roll outwards from yourself. So I'm going to keep on doing that until I have a pastry that's about the thickness of a pound coin. I think a poker chip is around the same thickness, but I don't play poker, so I may be wrong. So I'm going to keep on rolling until I have a sheet of Hamantaschen dough ready to stamp out. My dough is rolled out. I've got my 3-inch cookie cutter, and I'm just gonna stamp. I know that everyone's got this habit of twisting after you stamp. Don't twist. Just stamp and lift. The minute you twist, it kind of encourages the dough to shrink back on itself. So just stamp out. If you feel like it's sticking, dip the cookie cutter into some flour and keep on stamping as close as you can to each other, even though you can absolutely re-roll this dough. You do want to get as many out the first time you do this. So I'm going to get rid of the scraps on the side. I am going to re-roll them, but in order to fill these, I really want to get rid of all the excess dough. One of them came with me because I wasn't paying attention. And there we go. That's all there. Very thin spatula. This is your friend when baking. So lift onto your hand, and what I have here is my kids' favorite, which is a brownie filling. They're brownie stuffed Hamantaschen. And what I do is I fold. So fold one end, fold the second one, and then fold in the bottom. And there you go. There is our first brownie stuffed Hamantaschen ready to go directly on our cookie sheet, and I'm gonna keep on going. I've got loads of different options here for fillings, including jam and biscuit cream. What else? I have Israeli chocolate spread, the stuff you get on Pesach. My kids love it. I don't know what to tell you. But I'm going to keep on going with my brownie stuffed ones, which I just think are awesome. And the brownie stuffed ones, I'm actually going to drizzle with some chocolate once they come out of the oven and have cooled down. But here we go. Hamantasch away. I'm going to keep on rolling, punching, filling, shaping. It's all about the Hamantasch today. So stick with me. Let's keep on going until the tray is absolutely full. My first tray of brownie stuffed Hamantaschen are ready to go into the oven. So this shouldn't take more than 15 minutes at 180 degrees Celsius, 350 Fahrenheit. Keep an eye on them. One of the reasons I don't use chocolate dough is because I like that you can actually see when this pale dough is cooked, because it turns this like gorgeous golden brown. So into the oven we go, about 15 minutes. Most of our Hamantaschen are out of the oven. So exciting. So we have our brownie stuffed ones. We have our biscuit cream stuffed ones. And let me just show you something. What happens when you overstuff your Hamantaschen? That happens, I know. And I do it every year. Every year I tell myself, don't overstuff them, don't overstuff them. And I overstuff them, and that happens. So though the inclination is to be generous, don't be. Put in less. It'll work out better. And here we have our raspberry jam ones, my favorite. And now with the brownie ones, as promised, I'm going to drizzle some dark chocolate over them. I just melted a couple of squares in the microwave. I'm going to snip the end of my little bag here, and it's running. Okay, so not to worry, the baking, the cooling rack is actually on a piece of baking paper. So those of you worried about me getting my counter dirty, that would just be my mother. The rest of you don't have to worry. And there we go. I'm going to drizzle these with a whole bunch of chocolate, because I find that though I love the brownie stuffed Hamantaschen, they actually are a little bit dry. So this kind of helps them out a bit. Hamantaschen coming right up. This is gotta be one of my favorite Jewish bakes, a Hamantasch. Yes! Oh my gosh, I know what a drizzle of chocolate does for our lives. It doesn't take much, does it, people? And we are almost done drizzling all our brownie stuffed Hamantaschen with extra chocolate. We're gonna let this set and then I'm gonna show you the finished deal, but pretty much that is it. Those are our Hamantaschen. My Israeli chocolate cream ones are still in the oven. They'll come out. But there you have it, our awesome Hamantaschen dough. It does require that little bit of time in the fridge, between an hour or preferably overnight. And you can really mix and match whatever filling you want. But as I said, word of warning, do not overstuff your Hamantaschen. Looking forward to seeing you all so soon. I cannot wait to see how you get on with your Hamantaschen, what creative fillings you come up with. See you all soon.